everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about nutrition and explain why we use the products we use. First off, let's think about hedgehog anatomy. Hedgehogs don't have a cecum, which is where plant matter is digested. So their digestive tract is very short when compared to humans, rodents, or other cats, dogs, or other animals. So that plays a role in nutrition because the food is not in their digestive tract as long as it is in other animals. One of the main reasons we use Spike's products, Spike's Ultra Plus is the formula that we're using, is because of the way it's processed. Dry ingredients come together with a little bit of water. It's ground at such high speeds that the friction from the grinding creates the heat, which sterilizes the product and releases the cell wall so that the nutrients can be easily digested and absorbed. That process happens in less than 30 seconds so that the vitamins and nutrients aren't cooked out. For that reason, the Spike's products are digested more rapidly and easier than your average other foods that hedgehogs may eat, like for example, cat foods. So the main benefits are that the hedgehog eats less, it poops less, it smells less because the food is digested properly, and in the long run, it costs a lot less. Another benefit about this food is this food has been tested for many, many years. I've been using it since the spring of 1999. It's been tested on literally thousands of hedgehogs. This company sells in small batches to breeders. So they're a custom made food for breeders, and then the breeders then distribute it. So this product is not something you're going to find in pet stores. It's not going to be on Amazon. This formula, for instance, it's going to be a little bit harder to find. So we ship the product that we use. So thank you for supporting us and buying more product, but you can get it directly from Spike's main company, Pet Pro Products. You're going to pay a little bit more, but they will ship you larger bags if you're interested in larger bags. So that is our main food. We give our hedgehogs a tablespoon of this food every day. So with the caveat, this is our variety mix. Our variety mix is made up of 5 different high-end cat foods to give your hedgehog a variety of taste and texture. That's important because we don't want your hedgehog to get bored by eating the same foods all the time. And it's also an emergency backup plan. If you should happen to have an emergency, your Spikes gets lost in the mail, your dog eats your Spikes, for whatever reason you might need something different, you can look on the back or look on this website and see what ingredients it has. For example, Tiki Cat is one of the foods that is in this blend of variety mix. So if your hedgehog has been exposed to other foods, if you are in a pinch and need to pick up some other foods in a jiffy, you know that your hedgehog has been exposed to other foods. So what we suggest is blending these 2 foods together, and they get a tablespoon of this food every day. So our hedgehogs are used to eating mainly Spikes, but with a little bit of some extra foods blended in. The next food I want to talk to you about is Stress Less. Stress Less is one of our favorite products from Pet Pro Products in addition to the food. And I have been using this food for many years, more than 20 years. And when animals get stressed, the 2 main things that happen is they get a tummy ache, so they don't want to eat, and they get diarrhea, similar to humans and other animals. So what makes Stress Less important is it has some key ingredients to help put things back in place. It has whole dried chicken, so chicken is a good treat that you can use from your kitchen. It has whole dried egg. Eggs are a treat that you can use from your kitchen as well. It has sweet potato flour. The flour is important because it helps slow down the digestive tract. So the flour is a little bit more digestible than sweet potato in other forms, but the main function is to help slow down that digestive tract. It also has probiotics and dried honey. So the combination of these things tastes really good to most hedgehogs. You might get a real hedgehog that doesn't like Stress Less, but that would be kind of like a child that doesn't like pizza. Most kids like pizza, most hedgehogs like Stress Less. So we use Stress Less as an emergency. If we're having a hedgehog that's not eating, I sprinkle it on their food. If Hedgie that doesn't work, then I take it up another step. I take the Stress Less and I mix it with a little bit of olive oil or water to make a paste, and then I wipe it on the hedgehog. Hopefully the hedgehog gets annoyed, licks it off, and then that will help jumpstart their digestive tract and get them to be eating again. If your hedgehog doesn't lick off and start eating, you want to get to a vet pretty soon because something's going on. If you have a sick or ailing hedgehog, Stress Less is also good to mix with some bone broth or water, something like that, and syringe feed it. So you can syringe sick and ailing hedgehogs. You can wipe it on them in a paste form, and you can tempt their taste buds and help their tummy all at the same time. We like to make super treats. Insects are also an important part of hedgehogs' diet. It's a bulk of their diet in the wild. We use freeze-dried insects because we have so many animals. It's mostly practical, and a lot of our customers don't want to do live simply from the ick factor. So we do sell a variety of insects. We have black soldier fly larvae, we have mealworms, we have freeze-dried crickets, and we have a insect medley. The insect medley has shrimp, it has mealworms, black soldier fly larvae, and darkling beetles. The shrimp and darkling beetles have a lot of chitin, and those two are used a lot in pet foods to give extra natural chitin fiber for their hedgehogs. So if you have a fish allergy, I do want to make you aware that it does have shrimp in it. The darkling beetles and the shrimp are probably the more nutritious beetle carcasses, but sometimes the hedgehogs really don't care for those two things. So what I like to do is I personally like to mix the insect medley and the black soldier fly larvae together. I like to have extra soldier fly larvae in the mix because the soldier fly larvae is higher in calcium, it's easier to digest than mealworms, and they tend to like the taste of it. So there's a lot of nutrition in the black soldier fly larvae, especially for babies and for nursing mamas. So that's part of my plan, is mixing these two together. Some people do like mealworms. I personally like mealworms better in the live version if they're coated with a calcium powder to help balance out that calcium and phosphorus ratio. But you can also do crickets. Crickets are hit and miss with your hedgehogs, but they're also an extra good source of nutrients. So what I like to do is mix my bugs together and then powder coat with Stress Less. That makes a super treat. Some of my hedgehogs get to be a little sneaky and they lick the Stress Less off their bugs. You'll have that sometimes, but then, or if the hedgehog isn't eating, I'll put more Stress Less on it and try to recycle the bugs, but sometimes they just refuse. Again, you will have some hedgehogs that are different than all other hedgehogs, or the majority of hedgehogs. So that in a nutshell is what we do with our bugs. And we typically give the hedgehogs their bugs every day with young babies and mamas, but just about every other day for our other hedgehogs. On the other days, we like to, the opposite days of the bugs, we also like to give nutritious treats, which I'll talk about next. In addition to our spikes and variety mix combo as their main staple of the diet, and in addition to their bugs and Stress Less super treat, we do give our hedgehogs other treats outside of the cage and in the cage for hedgehogs that aren't used to treats outside of the cage yet. So one of my favorite treats is called Quack Quack Honk, and it is a duck and goose freeze-dried raw product. It comes in little nugget looking things. It's soft, so it may crumble in shipping. What I like to do is break it in half because they're fairly large, and tempt my hedgies with the Quack Quack Honk. So when they're out playing, when they're moving around, I like to tempt them with different treats. So Quack Quack Honk is one of my favorite. It is the first freeze-dried raw treat that we found that hedgehog really like, that the majority of the hedgehogs really like. When I don't hand feed them individual treats, or if they don't seem interested right away with the treats, I do crumple it on their food. So if your hedgehog doesn't take a treat right from your hand, or if it doesn't find it when it's out at playtime, don't hesitate to crumple it right on their food so they get the taste of it. Because not all hedgehogs like food the first time. They might need to learn that it's good. So don't be afraid to crumple it on their food to get their taste buds rolling. Similar to Quack Quack Honk is Chicky Chicky Bang Bang. It is very similar. It is also freeze dried, and it has 98% whole chicken in it, and it is also freeze dried raw. So they kind of go in tandem, very similar to each other. Another treat that I found is called Smashing Pumpkins. It is a freeze dried chicken and pumpkin treat. Pumpkin is very good for their digestive tract, and it's a flavor that they seem to like. So this is another tempting treat that you can use for your hedgehogs. As I mentioned in the video about the Stress Less, how it has whole dried egg, these are quail egg yolks. They come in little balls, but chances are in shipping they're gonna crumble. That's okay, because I do like to crumble it on their food. So any of these foods, the Quack Quack Honk, Chicky Chicky Bang Bang, and freeze dried quail egg yolk, and Smashing Pumpkins, you can hand feed them or you can crumble them on their food. They're very, very nutritious, so it's good supplements and variety in their diet. The last thing is chicken banana wraps, and they kind of look like this. These are tempting treats that I like to use outside of the cage. I always use these with supervision. So when customers are handling their baby for the first time, sometimes I'll use any of these treats outside of the cage to kind of tempt their taste buds. Some hedgehogs love just the banana, some of them love just the chicken, and some of them will enjoy the whole thing. So I keep these packaged so that you can use them again and again. So these are something only outside of the cage with supervision. So you can use any of these foods every other day with your insects, or you can use them outside of the cage as a tempting treat. Canned cat food is something that I like to have on hand in case of emergency. I've tried a lot of different cat foods over the years, and to be honest, they kind of gross me out. So this one is made by Stell and Chewy. It's Carnivore Cravings Kitten Chicken and Salmon recipe. It is a pate, so it's kind of smooth in texture. It doesn't smell too bad. It doesn't look too bad. So I like this one, and I like the nutrition behind it. When I have an ailing hedgehog, or if I just want to treat some because I have opened a can for a sick hedgehog that I want to make a broth for example, I'll take a bone broth, or I'll take some chicken broth, or even just a little water, and make a more liquid food for hedgehogs that are ailing. Sometimes moms having babies don't want to eat. That's the main time I use that, is for moms and babies. But it can also be a good treat. Most hedgehogs that I've tried it with love it. So if you do get a can of this, I found that it is sold in 24 packs. I would not buy a 24 pack because it's going to last you too long. It'll expire. So one of the things that I do, because it doesn't last forever, is I will take this, thin it out a little bit, again with bone broth, even water, chicken broth, low sodium. You can then smear it in your mini silicone. I like the mini silicone ice cube trays, and I smooth it out in there. I take a knife and try to get all the bubbles out, and then let it freeze. Put it in a gallon size Ziploc bag, freezer safe gallon size bag. And then when you want to give your hedgehog a treat, you can just pop these little squares out. So 1 or 2 squares would be great for a treat, something different to tempt your hedgehog, but it's also good to have in your emergency kit just to set aside. If you need to, this would also be something that you could syringe feed for an older hedgehog, or a hedgehog that has dental problems, or a hedgehog that's dehydrated. So again, this is something I like to have on hand, and I like this to go with this as well, so it doesn't go wasted or get spoiled.